This is Post Movie with Steve Head and John Black. I'm Steve Head.
I'm John Black.
And on this episode, we're going to talk about new Blu-ray and DVD releases, of which we have a number of, again, on the table, in front of us, on the shelves behind you, John, and on the chair next to you, too.
Yep.
And on that table over there.
They're everywhere.
And on that shelf over there, too.
Ta-da!
And right next to my, on my right here.
What is in your hand now?
Well, you might be surprised that I'm actually going to talk about this.
Nothing you do surprises me,
But,
Steve.
you know, in the strange world of, like, guilty pleasures, this one, I don't know why I'm jumping right into this. I just picked it up. It's Kate and Leopold.
Okay.
Yeah, with Meg Ryan and Hugh Jackman. And I liked this movie.
It's okay.
It's a James Mangold film.
Yes.
You know, Walk the Line. And then that hotel flick he did with John Cusack, and then 3:10 to Yuma. This was his romantic comedy, 2000, 2001. Anyway, it's 10 years on and just dated enough in the pre-iPhone generation thing that, you know, that it's like, it's contemporary and yet not. But I digged this movie. They just came out with a special edition on Blu-ray. I watched it last week. And I don't think that there's so much that's added to the film, but I liked the time travel element of this, and I very much what makes this movie work. What makes this movie work is Hugh Jackman. Mm-hmm. His American Victorian era character being transplanted into present day New York.
Right.
And all the possibilities that his character represents. The strange part about this movie is that it stars Meg Ryan, and I think she's just miscast. I think she's too old for him.
Really? So this was when she was, the
I'm
bloom was
guessing
falling
that
off her rose?
I'm guessing that she might even be like 10 years older than. Some women will kill me for saying that, but
Well,
I think
Meg
she
Ryan
might be.
will.
She might be 10 years older.
Career-wise, was this when her America's Sweetheart thing was really tarnished and falling off the edge?
I think it was. I think there's a little. She's kind of pushing it here, but she's still pretty hot. I mean, from my.
Is it post-college in Meg Ryan?
Are we misogynist?
No, you are. I'm just a realist.
I'm afraid that we might come off like that sometimes.
Stop saying we when you're talking about misogyny. It's you.
But it's like if I'm saying something
Sexist?
that can be read as sexist about Meg Ryan, and like, why shouldn't she be, going for a guy 10 years younger than me? That's like sexist. But I mean, in terms of the movie and who you think Hugh Jackman's character would actually be attracted to, and who she would actually be attracted to, I can't say that I'm 100% sold that element of this movie works.
You're saying there's a lack of chemistry?
Yes. Thank you, John.
That's without.
But from
sexism.
Exactly. Yeah. But from a fantasy standpoint, I digged this movie. I digged the story. Liev Schreiber.
I kind of
remember that he was like the scientist who discovered that there was this rift in time
on the Brooklyn Bridge,
right? just under the Brooklyn Bridge,
right?
So if you jump off it, you'll fall into a time warp. But don't worry, you won't drown,
right? I love when they come up with those plans.
And remember Breckin Meyer?
Trust me.
What happened to Breckin Meyer?
Last thing I saw him do was Blue State.
Yeah,
he was working on the. He's working on some presidential campaign, or the Gore campaign, and when Gore didn't win, he went off searching for America. It was really low budget, independent. It was actually pretty good. But
I just watched him last night in Clueless. And I guess that's the film that kind of established his type of character. And so a couple years on, he's in this as sort of the artist, actor, younger brother guy in this. And I just got to thinking, what happened to Breckin Meyer? But anyway, James Mangold and Company took the time to put together a director's cut of Kate and Leopold. And it's out on Blu-ray. It looks great. Hugh Jackman, this is what's great about this film is Hugh Jackman. And his fish out of water story, and I liked the time travel element in it. I dig that. Plus, I think I'm also entertained by, now that in watching this, I own this on video. I guess I bought it like 10 years ago, but in watching it 10 years later, 10 or 12 years later, and the way people's communication has changed. Like one of the big elements in this movie is all Meg Ryan wants to get back is her Palm Pilot. She just wants her Palm Pilot. So her life can be one again.
Right.
And
is that the new piece of technology that bamboozled
then you go,
the guy
something like that, and then you go back even further into Clueless, and there's nothing really like that, or in the sense that like when the characters are communicating with each other, one of the girl's boyfriends complain, "How come you're not responding to my pages?"
Pages, yikes!
Time
marches on.
Things change, and moving on. And this is one of the oddities. John, go for it.
I'm going to recommend The Witches of Oz.
Never heard of it.
This is I guess it was a TV special, maybe the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah.
It's a reimagining of Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, which takes place in modern day times, where Dorothy is a children's book author who leaves her family in Kansas and goes to New York for a book publishing deal. We learned that the story she's telling are actually repressed memories because she's the Dorothy from Oz and the Emerald City. There's a whole...
This is like Peter in Hook.
It's kind of like Neverland.
From Oz.
Yeah, it's the same kind of thing. It has Paulie Rojas is Dorothy, and Christopher Lloyd is the wizard, which is always
that guy has always been aged.
Yeah, even when
he was playing aged
Taxi,
when he was young.
Old. But this has it's a really interesting way of telling the story. Great special effects. They're trying to sell it like a kids movie, and I don't know if little kids should see it because it gets kind of scary, like when a woman pulls her head off and puts on another head.
They should see it.
Yeah, kids should see it.
Scare them. Only for kids. The hell out of them to teach them a lesson.
Yeah, a lot of fun. It's a little long. It's like almost 2.5 hours or something, but well worth it. I would check it out.
The Witches of Oz.
The Witches of Oz. Yes.
And so I saw We Got a Zoo. Why do I keep calling it We Got a Zoo?
Because
We got a zoo because they bought a zoo.
That's right.
We bought a zoo.
You surrendered to it?
I liked it.
See? Hold your head up, Stephen. It's
Cameron
okay.
Crowe charmed me.
So
he
did
charmed me. I knew that I was being sprinkled with fairy dust and smiles and, cute kids and lovable animals. And
well, yeah,
don't. Stuff.
They should, if you just count the times animal close-ups are used in that movie. It's hilarious. It's like anytime there's a problem, animal close-up.
Yeah, it's filmmakers. We know that they typically cut to an animal to get a laugh.
Sure.
Here, you cut to an animal and you wonder what they're thinking. What's being these nutty humans caging us, owning us, asking us to do things, and we're going to rebel. And
isn't that Matt Damon? The animals say he's cute.
Well, yeah,
Damon rocks this story. He just does.
He's very good.
He's playing a put upon dad with a dream and.
Oh, and they say that right out there. He's playing a guy whose wife has recently died. I think within the 6 months of the story, and his family is he has a little girl, cute little girl, which is kind of like typical of Cameron Crowe to put that in. Didn't he do that with the little kid in Jerry Maguire? And now he has a son who's I don't know, disaffected. Dour for no reason at all, and his dad can't figure it out. But so he's a journalist, Matt Damon's character, and I just don't know where he got the money to be able to buy a
zoo.
Yeah, how many acres was that?
I don't know. It's a rundown zoo.
Somewhere in California.
Journalism pays well.
He's an adventure journalist.
Yeah.
I guess he would write about like flying into the eye of a hurricane or
right.
I don't know.
Right.
He's made enough money doing it.
That's a different pay scale than guys who get, sit in the dark watching movies.
Well, I mean, Matt Damon and Thomas Hayden Church and pretty much everybody in this movie it's entertaining. It's entertaining to watch.
Scarlett Johansson,
obviously,
looking so sexy in like a Dickies zoo uniform.
And how is it that nobody would like give her the time of day? It's like the zoo crew are fashioned as such outcasts.
They can't tell it's a hot babe under those lumpy clothes.
Yeah, but yet it's like they aren't, and the characters are built in such a way as like how could we not like anybody in this movie? It is a harmless film, the whole harmless, heartwarming thing,
Yeah, and the thing is, I think too many people, we talked about before when critics go in with that preformed attitude. I think people went into this with
I had that
preformed
for this. I knew that what I was getting into was schmaltzy.
But it's good schmaltz.
And the film works its way with you. Mm-hmm. It rapes your heart.
Ooh.
It has its way with you. That'll be the poster.
Yeah, wasn't that on
quote.
the poster? It rapes your heart. Bring the family. It rapes your heart.
This film
it takes your emotions
has
from
its
behind.
Way, emotionally has its way with you.
Yeah. No, I think it rapes your heart would be the perfect poster quote for this one. Jesus, Steve.
It's so. That's just another way of saying it has its way with you.
I hate you for making me like you.
It's like we know what Cameron Crowe's doing to this, and
he's raping your heart.
But he's such a well-meaning writer, and the guy's about the positive things in life and inspiration, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we see enough movies to be totally jaded by all the garbage out there, the death and destruction and not trusting other characters and all that stuff, and this comes along and it's like harmless and it's inspiring. In fact, it even teaches you something about how to be, not be afraid. Mm-hmm. If you want to make a big change in your life, all you have to do is have a certain amount of confidence for 20 seconds, and you can do it.
Well, that's the Cameron Crowe touch.
That's the Cameron Croweism in this one.
You had me at hello.
Yeah. Just 20 seconds of courage.
I gave him my heart, and he gave me a pen. All those Cameron Croweisms come back to haunt you. If you have a romantic soul.
But what's I must say is very nice about this film is. Say what you want about the photography, but the editing is very open. It's not a slowly paced movie, but the movie is edited in such a way that it allows you to really take in the scenery, and you don't feel rushed. And it's a beautiful looking film. And you combine that with Jonesy's soundtrack. Jonesy is the frontman for Sigur Rós.
Okay.
Beautiful, ethereal combinations of choir and electronics, and such a wonderful score to the film. And then they feature that in one of the featurettes on the film is the behind-the-scenes look at the making of the score with Crowe interviewing Jonesy. And there's his motorcycle.
It's cool.
Yeah,
which
I found fascinating. Yeah, there's the extra features on the disc actually are pretty good. I think there's, I want to say there's like a close to a half hour of deleted scenes. Let's really flesh out some stuff in the film. In fact, the bad guy, the guy who's fashioned as the bad guy, he's like the surveyor, the government guy that they're supposed to change all the things that need to be changed in the zoo in order for them to have approval to open up on July 7th or something like that. I think it's Michael Higgins. Mm-hmm. Michael something Higgins. Yeah. He was from Best in Show.
Right.
Blade Trinity. He has a confrontation in one of the deleted scenes, or one of the characters, the Scottish guy who helps maintain the grounds.
Right, they've got this running history between them.
Yeah, and one of the character pieces that's deleted from the movie is the fact that Patrick Fugit, who plays one of the hands at the zoo, is the illegitimate son of that character. Mm-hmm. And the Scottish guy who drinks himself into such a state as to not be aggressive and kill Michael Higgins' character. It's very amusing in the movie, but in the deleted scenes, you actually have the confrontation where they're shaking hands, and then he actually physically attacks the guy. Which is, you can see where the movie would have delved into absurdity there, if it ends with him actually hurting him. But you get to see that in the deleted scenes. And the making of the film, we made a movie. I think that on the whole, these documentaries that are being included on discs have improved so much.
Right.
These making of behind the scenes pieces that they're actually little pieces of art in themselves. And there is a style to this making of documentary on the movie that is it's enjoyable. It's kind of like this. You could see that Cameron Crowe had a hand in the making of segment on this disc.
Right.
Also, there's a featurette, but really it's about a half hour, maybe more, on the real family in England, in Devon, that bought the zoo. that I think he actually bought the zoo while his wife was living, but his wife was diagnosed with cancer and died very quickly.
Right.
And this is about their family saving this zoo in Devon, which is actually pretty fascinating because, like in the movie, as happened in real life, there was the issue of you're owning a zoo and you're also a father and you've got kids and this is a lion, this is a tiger, these are they would have you for lunch, and so they talk about that sort of dynamic. There's the cutesy animal dynamic, and then there's like, how do you live at a zoo where you're taking care of a bear that could actually kill you.
Right.
Right. Which they don't address in the movie.
Oh, no.
Because grizzly bears, are actually, when they stand up, they could be like 8 or 9 feet tall.
Right.
And they could maul you.
Sure.
Sure. But that's kind of like, not treated in the movie, especially in that scene where the bear escapes and they have to trank the thing.
Right.
But,
cool.
But, it's a harmless teddy bear like movie that Cameron Crowe has made. And I think the point I want to make is that in our filmmaking world, there is a place for Cameron Crowe's movies, and as much criticism as he has received from critics about maybe the indulgence of some of his other films, and maybe like some people think Vanilla Sky is kind of indulgent. Some people think that, and I would agree that Elizabethtown didn't work.
Yeah,
and I don't think he should be really so vehemently punished for that so as not to work.
No,
I mean, there is a place for what Cameron Crowe does, and I'm sick of critics saying like, Morgan Spurlock has made a number of bad movies. He doesn't deserve to work. In other words, we're going to criticize him so that it's going to hurt his pocketbook, so that he doesn't bring us Comic-Con Episode 4, A Fan's Hope. We should hit that guy right where he works, right in the economics of it, Or M. Night Shyamalan. He's made a litany of what many people consider to be shitty movies. Forget about the Devil. We've given him enough chances. He doesn't deserve to work. I think that I've gotten this impression that Cameron Crowe has, by some critics, been given the stamp of, I'm so sick of that crap. He doesn't deserve to work anymore. I'm sick of that. I wish critics would stop it. There's a place for Cameron Crowe. And his kind of movies.
I don't think there's a place for critics who think that way. That's fucking idiotic.
That's the level of criticism.
That's the level of human being.
I mean, the New York Post yesterday asked the question, why is Morgan Spurlock even working?
Well, that's more about the writer's ego than anything else.
That's just someone personally being sick of that person's films. But you know what? He makes films that are actually kind of culturally significant. He starts a conversation. He gets it going.
Yeah.
He presents you these ideas. He's not supposed to teach you something. Maybe he kind of did with
Super Size Me.
Super Size Me. But then there was the movie he made about about the self-financing. What was that movie? The one where he did all the greatest movie ever sold. Yeah, that was very revealing as far as marketing and product placement goes. That did teach you something. But I think what Morgan Spurlock does is actually valuable and shouldn't have been written off in the sense that like it wasn't adding something to the greater, conversation. What Cameron Crowe does is, I felt as I was watching the film and I thought about it afterwards, I felt that that kind of nicety is very important, and the online film criticism community today, and even in the print, I think is so jaded by their, I'm just going to say like fucking loving exploitation. Just like exploitation addicts, like death, guns, traumatic events, not trusting people. But Cameron Crowe is about love and inspiration and family and communication, how to communicate with somebody when, you love that person and the communication is broken down, under people's like understanding people and how they relate within the workplace. Mm-hmm. That's like Jerry Maguire.
Right.
Or in some sense, Vanilla Sky was very much about relating to people. And certainly working in the workspace, here with We Bought a Zoo, Matt Damon and the way he communicates with his family, it's that, it's love, communication, inspiration. Cameron Crowe. I've gone off.
Right. I have nothing to say. That's it. Thank you for joining us, people.
But John, what I did get a kick out of is that when I posted on Facebook that I did actually enjoy this movie, You backed me up on that.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know who was. I thought that people were kind of generally critical about We Bought a Zoo. Is it like another entry in the Cameron Crowe filmography that was, it was fine, but whatever. But when I posted about it, it got a number of responses from people saying, you know what, it affected some people.
Yeah. Yeah. Even if it just affected you because it's entertaining.
Yeah.
You know, I have no problem with that.
I recommend it.
Good.
I'm borderline saying highly recommend it. But
Borderline.
yeah.
Okay.
It raped my heart.
Want to go all artsy fartsy for a sec?
Do it.
Yeah. Okay. It's translated to be conversation piece. Gruppo di Famiglia. Conversation piece by Visconti with Burt Lancaster. Now, Burt Lancaster did The Leopard.
Luchino Visconti's conversation piece.
Right.
Wow.
Was that the same guy who did The Leopard?
I believe so.
Right. So Burt Lancaster, at some point late in his career, went to Italy and made Italian films. And the thing that cracks me up, I mean, I really enjoyed this movie, but the thing that cracks me up is Burt Lancaster is a presence and a voice. And in these movies, he's a presence and somebody else's voice.
Yeah.
You know, because it's just badly dubbed. But anyway, Burt Lancaster plays a professor in this big villa in Rome. He's an art collector. These people come over one day to try to sell him a painting. There's three of them, two men and a woman. He's like, I don't want to buy this painting. I know it's good, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to buy it. So the two guys leave, and the woman's like, still there. And he goes, are you with them? She goes, no, I'm here to rent the apartment upstairs. He's like, I'm not renting my apartment. Well, just let me see it anyway. No, we're not renting. Oh, come on. I came all this way. Let me see it. And so she batters her way into his life with her family, I guess their son and daughter, and then her lover shows up, and it just gets more and more complicated. It's a really interesting story. Part of it goes off the rails for me personally because there's a big argument about fascist Italy in it, and I have no context to put that in. You know,
I'm imagining this is late 60s.
Yeah, 74.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, there's a big argument about fascist Italy. And I just was like, I don't know what they're talking about, but it seems very important. Good performance by Lancaster, just really entertaining, looks beautiful. And it's my favorite new contact for DVDs, Raro Videos, R-A-O Video.
Raro.
Rero. I wrote these guys.
It looks fascinating, actually, the cover.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote these guys. I said, "Hey, I want to be on your list," and they sent me this like 2 days later. Not a lot of extras. There's some film critic talking about it, which is some guy in a sweater just talking to you for.
I love
10
that.
minutes.
I love that.
I'll cut it. I wish it was film. I'd cut out and.
Is it like is it a contemporary review of the film, or was the review from the 70s or 80s?
I don't know. I didn't make it past 2 minutes. Some guy in a sweater telling me stuff.
In a sweater, I would have even loved it more if it would have been like in a tweed jacket.
Right.
And some like 70s, bad 70s backgrounds. That's exactly what I think we should do. I think we should grow like cheesy mustaches and put on tweed jackets and be a very, very bad 70s looking film critics.
You know,
that
Steve,
would be fucking awesome.
We're on a podcast. We can tell people that's what we look like.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
So anyway, I had a blast watching this. I know I usually get a bad reputation for not liking subtitles or foreign movies, so I'm branching out, and this one was a heck of a lot of fun.
I'm serious, man. I want to have photos taken in bad 70s suits or tweed jackets.
I'll do it.
That version of Film Critic. Man, so I was watching Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol, which came out on Blu-ray this week.
Yeah.
And so it's a 3 DVD set where you get the digital copy, but it's the second disc that's got all the shit on it that is actually great. This is like really well-made special features stuff. Now, if you go back and listen to our review from December, I loved the movie.
Right.
It blew me away. In fact, I think like if one measures movies by their box office, this was the most successful film from the last quarter of last year.
Okay.
the making of stuff on this disc is fantastic. It is very slickly done. In fact, the menus on the Blu-ray, I think these were conceived as Blu-ray menus. They were like filmed in such a ways that they knew what the menu was going to look like while they were filming the behind-the-scenes footage. It's sort of like, it's hard to explain, but it's like they sort of set up the style of the Blu-ray. They knew how it was going. They were like figuring out what it was going to look like while they were making the making of stuff. So it's just sort of neat that sort of seed of this package was sort of planted. Already conceived. Yeah. So there's a number of documentaries, I think, that like if you line them all up, that gets into the 2 or 3 hour range.
Yeah.
But it's great stuff about how they, filmed it in Prague, how they did the high wire
Dubai
I mean, like, it's crazy and high altitude filming in the sense that, like, yeah, we know Tom Cruise is a little crazy about doing his own stunts, but he was actually literally hanging from the building in the world's tallest building outside, like, this glass structure. It was Tom Cruise hanging out there. Wee! Wee! This little belt with the cable holding him up a mile in the sky. We don't have to worry about special effects because it's really him.
That's the best Tom Cruise impersonation ever. Or else the harness was really tight.
I think it was like, and then they filmed like these action figure type scenes where, he's hanging out the window and Simon Pegg and the other guys are all like cabled up and having to do that with them. I asked myself, like, would I do it? I mean, I've been in some pretty high buildings and, you lean up against the glass and you're like, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, if I felt I was cabled up, maybe I would do it. But, you're still availing yourselves to incredible tragedy.
Right.
I mean, how would they have marketed this movie if Tom Cruise's, cable had snapped?
They wouldn't have to. People would go anyway.
and the guy
this
fell.
This movie he died in? I'd go see it.
Hundreds of feet to his death,
Or would they do like the
like, are you absolutely sure? Is there like, I'm talking like a 100% chance that this boat's not going to sink, that this thing's not going to come crashing down around us if Tom Cruise does something in the cable, mishap or something like that.
What was the wasn't there a Bela Lugosi movie? He died, and then they had his dentist come in and just put his arm up over his face.
Yeah, but that wasn't due to an accident in the sense that,
the same thing. We could fake, a lot of long shots.
Cruise.
They can digitally put him in.
Brandon Lee.
Yeah, we could do the same thing. It would work. I'd go see it.
So it's fascinating from that standpoint that Tom Cruise does all that kind of stuff. But Brad Bird really avails himself to the documentary in the making of the film. Plus, you get some great behind the scenes stuff and the recording of the score with Michael Giacchino, and it's very good coverage on the making of the movie. So the movie itself, I think, is actually a great film.
Yeah.
But it also talks about the problems in the making of it, about filming with the IMAX cameras, the casting. It's completist. I mean, from a fan's point of view, this is like a 5-star DVD. Really is. I'll be watching the extra features again. I don't usually say that, but there are some discs this year that like I really enjoyed the extra features on. Super 8, well produced extra features. I'll be watching that again. That's just me.
Right. Warhorse.
No, Warhorse is very well
Hugo.
made. Yes, but Hugo doesn't have a lot of extra features. What I was going to say, I mean, I did Tintin. That's what I was going to talk about. Okay. But Hugo has some well-made extra feature stuff.
Right.
It's not like huge and completist. It's like maybe a collection, I think, of like 5 featurettes or something like that. But Super 8 has wonderful documentation on the making of the film. That is a well-made extra features deal on that DVD. Mission Impossible, also the same. I think ultimately, I think Paramount has done some really great work on these DVDs between Super 8 and Mission Impossible.
So you must be psyched about Jaws.
Well, yeah. This week they announced that Jaws has been restored, and they're gonna. I don't know what that's gonna mean for like having. I love extra features. I don't know what that's gonna mean for when the disc comes out.
Right.
But that'll be interesting to see. Jaws is one of the 13 films that Universal's restored this year for their 100th anniversary.
Right.
Amongst them,
right.
To Kill a Mockingbird, I'd put that up there. That had some great extra feature stuff on that disc. Although some of it's kind of rehashed, but so Universal, I also want to add, so they've been doing these restorations, and their restoration of Pillow Talk comes out in a couple of weeks, and that's going to include a couple of featurettes, and I think they feature our friend Dan Kimmel.
Kimmel, yep.
And they'll be on the Pillow Talk Blu-ray.
He plays Doris Day in an outtake.
Yeah. Well, what I've found very fascinating about these restoration pieces that a lot of studios are putting a lot of effort into right now, because as we know, in these past few years, it's become very important, isn't so much that like we're talking about the restoration of a print of the film. We're talking about the deterioration of the negative.
Right.
So like Universal had released some images of Jaws, and we're talking about like the discoloration and the tears in the negative. And every time you make a print of Jaws, it comes from, if you can do it, from that original negative, right. And it wears on that negative. Like there's some negatives that just don't exist anymore because they've been run through the machine, that it's deteriorated to a point where it can't be saved. So 2001: A Space Odyssey, the negative was churned so much that it just doesn't have a workable situation right now. But that, I think in that case, it's Stanley Kubrick's fault, because he wanted a certain type of look, and he wasn't getting it from the prints, on the negative. Anyway, so Universal has restored Jaws. They just recently screened their restoration of The Wolfman and Frankenstein at the TCM Fest, which is happening this week.
They did Frankenstein at the
they showed the restoration,
the sci-fi thing at Davis Square.
Oh, I didn't. Was it a restored version of it? Wow. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to seeing that.
It was like 3 a.m. I'd already gone home.
They're working on the birds right now. Universal has, I think, in the next few weeks, they're releasing Abbott and Costello's Buck Privates. There's not going to be a lot of fanfare about that, but I've seen some of the clips that they've shared online, and it looks fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't recall what else they're working on as far as Bride of Frankenstein and the Spanish version of Dracula. Also, I might add, I can't wait for these Disney restorations to see what they look like. They've restored 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and they just screened it yesterday at the TCM Fest. Man, if there was one fucking theater I would have liked to have been at, it was Grauman's Chinese Theater.
Yeah.
For that.
That's one of the movies
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, man.
Oh, that octopus was so cool.
It looked cool on the DVD.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
That is some insane practical effects.
Yeah.
And on the disc, of course, they show you what the original version was going to look like. They called it like the sunrise or the sunset squid attack, and they thought that they'd go for some sort of red background motif to make it evil. Yeah. But all it did was they showed it. So they filmed it originally as like a marionetted squid, so you could literally see all the wires and the guys, the Nautilus crew chopping at the tentacles, but you could just see like the wires everywhere. And then they had this, and then I think it was Richard Fleischer or the screen. They just had a brainstorm while they were walking in between the sound stages that, oh my God, this has to be in the inclement weather. This has to be when they resurface. It has to be a crazy ass storm. And this thing's got to look mean, and the crazy-ass storm covers up all the wires. When you see how it comes out in the film, It's amazing that they were able to do this by, inflating the tentacles to give them that, like, sort of squirmy, evil look. Mm-hmm. Oh, man, I would love to see this in, like, Cinerama or Super Panavision 70, whatever they filmed it in on the big screen. Man, that'd be awesome. Okay, I got tangent there. I got all tangent.
That's never happened before. It's okay.
John, go for it.
20th Century Fox in their video on demand things sent me
Peeps
Siege of Firebase Gloria. This is a 70s Vietnam War movie with Wings Hauser and Arlie Emery from Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
At first I was like, this is so cheesy. It just looks stupid. It's about a fire base surviving the Tet Offensive in 1960, whatever. And Wings Hauser is awful in it. He, Now, when you see something like Platoon, the extras show you how they went to boot camp training and they had all these military advisors. Yeah. No one even taught Wings Hauser how to hold a gun.
Has anybody said Wings Hauser is awesome in it?
No. But he can't hold a gun. He's like, at one point he's got it upside down to go through a tunnel or something. He's awful. R. Lee Ermey as the sergeant in charge of this base is awesome.
It must have been. I suspect that's how he got cast in.
I don't know if this was after Full Metal Jacket or
Full
before.
Metal Jacket was what, 85?
Then this was before.
No, I'd say 86.
There's some insane scenes in here. There's one. It's not a spoiler because it's awesome, even if you know it's coming. Mm-hmm. They're in the fire base at night.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking
about. There's a voiceover saying about how dangerous. This is the most dangerous time when you're alone with your thoughts, waiting for Charlie. I love the slang. Waiting for Charlie to come. Charlie comes, steals the 50 caliber machine gun, kills the guys in the bunker, cuts their heads off, and puts them on sticks. So R. Lee Ermey finds the sandbagged area, the bunker, empty with all the men's heads on sticks. Nice. Does he freak out? No. He grabs two of the heads and then proceeds to lecture everyone on how I really used to like these guys, but now they've disappointed me. They didn't do their duty, and this is what fucking happens to them. And he walks around the firebase shaking these severed heads at the other guys, telling them, I don't like these guys anymore because they fucked up. Don't fuck up. And it's just these bloody, very fake-looking heads.
Point being, they'll never have an opportunity to make up for the fuck-up.
Right. So
you will never be able to make up for your big mistake.
That's right.
So don't make it.
Right. And I know it looks like a mannequin's head with some red paint on it, but it's really a dead soldier. So, there's a lot of cheeseball moments, but there's something about this that was just enormously entertaining. So I highly recommend it.
Well, it was the severed heads being paraded through the base.
It was the scene that just turned everything over in the movie for me. I was like, this is insane. Look at him. And he's playing it like it's Shakespeare, too. There's not a wink or a smile in this guy. It's the most impassioned plea of don't fuck up because this will happen to you. Vietnam War movie scene ever. So for that alone,
I thought the most impassioned thing he ever did was to say to his privates, "I want that toilet looking so spanking clean, even the Virgin Mary herself would be proud to sit down and take it."
Yeah, he hadn't gotten dialogue that good in this movie, but it works pretty well.
John, did you get these?
What are they?
Marvel Animated Features 3-movie collection. The Marvel movie collection, Ultimate Avengers.
Nope.
Yeah,
damn. When'd you get them? Where's mine?
I just got them the other day.
Are they? They're actual animated?
Yeah, they're the actual.
Movies, not motion comic things.
The Invincible Iron Man, actual animated movies. Planet Hulk, Doctor Strange.
Okay, I've seen all three of them before.
I haven't watched all of it yet, but they are out, and I am looking forward to seeing them this week. So.
Well, I
know that everybody's looking forward to hearing me talk about those damn things.
Well, I just got Uncanny X-Men, which is a motion picture comic.
Oh, you know what? I got, yeah.
Did you watch it?
I did.
Joss Whedon wrote it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, Sarah actually enjoyed it more than I did. I think we've had this conversation before about motion comics where there's the expectation that something is going to be, better.
They take me.
And it's just.
It takes me a while to
I don't feel totally comfortable with it.
No, it's not great animation. Like sometimes they'll be sitting there and their eyes move.
From an animation perspective, it's kind of sucky.
Easy.
From a comic book expectation, if you're looking at it from that paradigm, fine. It's cool.
Yeah, it's well written. It's a good story. That's the whole thing. I didn't read the series when it came out, and I talked to people who say they did a great job recreating what's in the book.
Well, it's the script that actually gets you.
Yeah.
You think I sat there judging it for the first 10 minutes thinking about, shit, this is like cheap ass. But the script, you see where they're coming from with what they're trying to do. They're trying to take it from this level of just a paneled comic book and bring it to life this way.
Right.
But some of the stuff just kind of ends up being a little funny, because like when all the characters are sitting in the back of a taxi and the only thing that's moving are like their eyes.
Right.
And it can be interpreted a different way. Like, are we on a mission or does that character just want to get the hell out of the taxi?
Yeah.
But the story actually, draws you in.
Yeah, I got the disc I got was chapter 2 of the second one. So I went back and watched the first one again. It's on demand on Netflix, and I can't wait for the third part. I think it's really well done.
That's from Shout Factory.
Yes,
Uncanny X-Men.
Yes.
I'll dig it. I'm actually going to be watching it again because Sarah wants to see it again. She really liked it.
Yeah, so it maybe sign up for a lot more motion pictures on Netflix just to see what the ones that are on demand or streaming.
Yeah.
So
doesn't like Marvel offer these?
Yeah, they've got a Spider Girl one.
Yeah, the Spider
one. A couple of Iron Man
one.
ones. They've got a Thor one. So I'll give them a second look. Yeah. Anyway, now back to you, Steve.
Well,
back to you, Steve.
There were a couple. I was a very busy week with all those lectures at the Pop Culture Association, but I got to watch in The Darkest Hour. Mm-hmm. Timur Bekmambetov.
That can't be right.
Pronounce his name correctly. I liked the fact that like electricity has taken over Moscow. Some supernatural force from some other world has come down and sapped electricity from everything. And basically, if you come into contact with one of these electrical alien beings or something, they disintegrate you like in War of the Worlds.
Cool.
You just become electrodust.
I had no interest in seeing it because the previews looked like they just didn't have the money to make a monster, so they did fake special effects.
This is like Emil Hirsch action, but I like Olivia Thirlby. I didn't hear about it in the theaters though. It's one of these films where I'd seen the trailers for it, and I kind of wondered when it was going to come out. Same thing sort of happened to me with In Time. You get intrigued by the trailer, but you never actually get the chance or know when the film is in theaters, and then it finally comes out on DVD. And this, just want to let you know it's out there. What do you got?
It's another foreign movie. People aren't going to believe this. This one's called The Conquest.
Farm movie?
Foreign. Yes. Steve, I got me another farm movie. This one's got pigs in it. Foreign movie called The Conquest. It's about French President Nicolas Sarkozy and his run-up to office. I know nothing about French politics.
I can give a shit about French politics.
Yeah. Now I do. From watching this movie, I kind of give a shit about French politics. It's about how this guy, who everyone calls him midget, and he's a dickhead, and he's just rude, and how he fights his way to become president of France. And it's all.
I just laughed like that was a joke.
No, that's what Dennis. Oh boy, Dennis. Podalydes. That guy, Podalydis. He gives an amazing performance in this movie. I don't know if it's anything like the real Sarkozy, but I couldn't take my eyes off this guy.
What is it about our American accents that make us stumble through French? It doesn't roll off our tongues.
No. English barely rolls off my tongue, Steve. So it was funny.
Through French.
When I was watching this, I'd listen to the words would come up, the subtitles would come up, and I'd recognize like a name. Like I knew they were going to say Chirac. And so I would listen to the whole sentence waiting for the word Chirac. And I'd be like, oh, I recognize French. I don't. But anyway, this just came out from Music Box Films. Yeah. Really, really fun, fascinating, interesting stuff.
Music Box Films get some great stuff.
And Florence Purnell, who was in 3 Colors Blue.
Really? Sitting.
She plays
sitting on the shelf right behind you.
She plays the wife, and man, she's hot. Yeah, she's hot in that French actress kind of way.
I like Music Box Films stuff. I like the Music Box Theater itself.
Mm-hmm. In
where
Chicago?
It gets its name in Chicago. Yeah.
Anyway, wonderful I would recommend that. So that's 2 foreign movies this weekend. I don't have to watch a foreign movie again for a month. I think that's the rule.
Really?
Yeah.
You got foreigned out.
I do. Now I just want to watch.
I think we're good.
American movies. Okay.
Are you looking forward to anything this week? What do we got this week?
Totally chimpanzees.
Oh, shit.
It's a chimpanzee movie. Right. Ma foi. And there's the Edgar Allan Poe movie.
Right.
And there's
that's the screen tomorrow.
Yeah, that's
Monday
at 2.
Yeah. Cool.
I want to go. You didn't go see The Pirate? Were you at the Pirate movie?
No. Was that even worth it? What was that called? It was? What was it called?
I don't know. It's The Pirates something.
Okay. See, I was just challenging you there. See if you could remember the title of that movie. Because I think that movie was supposed to come out like last year or something. It's been around for a while.
I guess. Well, I guess there was some troubles about the leprosy scene.
You're joking.
Controversy.
Digital leprosy?
It's not digital. It's claymation. It's the Aardvark people. So there's
the Aardvark people.
Yeah, Aardvark Studios.
Aardman.
Hardman, whatever.
Jesus Christ,
Man,
John.
Suddenly, this has become a
Aardman.
John said, okay, Aardvark. Aardman Studio. Edit it out. Or make me look a fool. Leave it.
Oh.
Did it matter? Does it really matter that much, Steve?
No, I'm just being funny.
No, you're at the end of your ropes. So anyway, yeah.
No, really, I respect your knowledge, and I did believe that you were just saying
Aardvark
for the fun of it.
Okay, I'll go with that. I like that. That's much better than the truth.
We're good.
Yeah.
You can check out all of our episodes online. We're at post-movie.net, and that place is going to look better.
Sexier.
I'm not happy with the website, John. I'm not fucking happy with it. And I got to do something about it. And I'm not a technical guy, but, I'm working on it. I'll do it.
Can you edit like the girls from Nude Nun with big guns and using it as a screensaver? I'd look at it
something more professional and pleasing.
Those girls were
people
professionals.
Who actually
Let me
listen
tell
to our
you.
show.
All right.
It's about making the people who listen to the show happy, giving them a more aesthetically pleasing website.
Again.
Okay.
I think my plan works.
Okay. And we're on Facebook. You can like us on Facebook, and if you leave a review for us on iTunes, we will always remember that person who left a review for us.
Because we will
iTunes.
Send them a copy of.
Because I think of Sean the Oz. Thank you for that wonderful review.
We will send them a copy of
Pinocchio.
Roberto Benigni's Pinocchio.
Yeah.
Just still sitting on my
I got to
floor.
check iTunes, see what's going on there.
You should check Facebook, too. People are chatting about us all the time.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I see it. We shouldn't feel so lonely.
I don't. I'm here. I'm here for you, Steve.
It's an endeavor being thrown into the wind.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And to help us not think that way, send us an email at contact@post-movie.net. You don't feel so lonely, John.
No. I always have me.
Until next time, I'm Steve Head.
I'm John Black.
So long, everybody.
Do you want to do it without laughing now?
It worked.